The galaxy was old. Civilizations had risen and fallen long before humanity even learned to walk on two legs. Great empires stretched across thousands of light years, and the Galactic Council sat in the heart of it all. Every member race gathered there debating, bargaining, and sometimes threatening each other in a hall so ancient it was said to be older than stars themselves. Among them, Earth was small. Or at least that was what the others believed. Humanity had joined the Council only a few centuries earlier. They came late compared to the other civilizations, arriving with ships that looked slow, weapons that seemed simple, and leaders who spoke humbly. Many in the Council laughed at Earth. They called humans the young race, the slow ones, and sometimes the quiet shadows. But not everyone laughed. There were whispers. Small voices in hidden corners of the Council, rumors that Earth was not as weak as it appeared. Some alien scholars noticed strange patterns in human history. Wars fought with unmatched ferocity, discoveries made in short spans of time, a tendency to adapt faster than anyone else. One old alien diplomat once said to his peers, "Do not mock Earth. They are holding back. And if they ever show their true strength, the galaxy will remember it forever." The warning was ignored. For a long time, humanity remained calm. They sent diplomats, traded resources, and slowly built colonies beyond their home star. They rarely showed military power. To outsiders, it looked like humans were simple traders who only wished for peace. But beneath the surface, Earth remembered its history. The wars on its own soil, the centuries of struggle and survival, the endless drive to reach the stars. Humanity did not forget how to fight. It only chose not to fight until it was forced. The moment came in the year 4721 of the galactic calendar. Far from Earth, on a quiet human colony named Haven Reach, life was simple. The colony was green, filled with farms and forests, and its people believed they were safe under the protection of the Galactic Council. Children played under twin suns. Farmers tilled fields while traders sent goods to nearby spaceports. But safety was an illusion. The Zorath Empire, a powerful alien faction known for conquest, wanted Haven Reach. To them, humanity was weak prey. They believed humans could be taken easily, their colonies swallowed into Zorath territory. Without declaring war, the Zorath sent a fleet of warships to Haven Reach. The attack was brutal. At dawn, the skies above the colony burned. The first wave of plasma fire tore through orbital defenses. Civilian ships tried to flee, but they were hunted like insects. On the ground, cities shook under bombardment. Thousands screamed, running for cover as the alien invaders landed troops. The Zorath commander broadcast a single message to the colony: "Surrender. You are weak. Serve us and we may spare a few of you." The colony governor sent a desperate signal to Earth. It was short, filled with static, but the message was clear. "We are under attack. We cannot hold. Send help." For the first time in centuries, Earth's leaders stood before the Galactic Council in anger. In the grand chamber of silver walls and glowing lights, the human ambassador's voice was steady but sharp. "The Zorath Empire has broken council law. They have slaughtered civilians. If the council will not act, then Earth will." Many alien leaders scoffed. Some laughed. The Zorath representative leaned forward, his scales glinting under the chamber lights. "You will do nothing," he said coldly. "You are children in this galaxy. You cannot stand against us." The human ambassador gave no reply. He simply walked out of the chamber. Back on Earth, the call had already been made. For generations, humanity had hidden its true strength, building fleets in silence, researching weapons in secret bases far from prying eyes, and training soldiers who were ready for a war no one believed would come. The veil was lifted. From the shadows of the solar system, Earth's warships rose. They were not the slow, outdated ships the Council thought they knew. These were sleek armored vessels with weapons glowing like suns. Engines that bent gravity itself. Crews trained for speed, precision, and unity. The fleet was led by the Horizon Spear, a colossal battleship hidden for decades under Neptune's storms. When the human fleet appeared in the skies above Haven Reach, the colonists who survived the first wave of attack stared upward in disbelief. The black sky filled with ships carrying the flag of Earth. For the first time, humanity showed its teeth. The battle that followed became legend. The Zorath fleet, confident in victory, turned to face the humans. Their commander laughed when he saw the numbers. Humans were outnumbered 3-1. The Zorath weapons were known across the stars for tearing apart enemy shields. To them, it looked like another easy victory, but numbers alone could not defeat humanity. When the battle began, human ships did not fight like the others. They moved with strange, unpredictable tactics. They sacrificed no vessel without reason, but they risked everything when it mattered. Human captains worked together with an instinct no machine could match. At one moment, the Horizon Spear broke through the center of the enemy fleet, drawing fire from every side. At the same time, smaller human ships slipped through gaps in the chaos, striking engines and weak points the Zorath never thought vulnerable. The colonists on the ground watched the sky light up with fire. Every explosion carried both terror and hope. Hours passed. The Zorath fleet began to falter. One by one, their ships fell. The commander, once so confident, sent desperate calls for reinforcements. But reinforcements never came. At last, the Horizon Spear fired its main weapon, a beam so bright it cut through the flagship of the Zorath like paper. Silence followed. The survivors of the Zorath fleet fled into hyperspace, leaving behind wreckage and shame. Humanity had won. News spread across the galaxy faster than light. In the council chambers, alien leaders who once mocked Earth now stared at the reports in disbelief. Videos of the battle showed human ships tearing apart a fleet that should have crushed them. Colonists testified how Earth had come to their aid when no one else did. The whispers grew louder. Earth was holding back. They are not weak. They are dangerous. They fight like no one else. But while some were impressed, others were afraid. Fear spreads faster than respect. The Zorath Empire, humiliated and enraged, declared that humanity would pay. They swore the war was not over. Other empires began to reconsider their stance. Some secretly plotting, others openly demanding answers from Earth. For humanity, there was no turning back. On Earth itself, the leaders gathered in the War Council. The ambassador who once stood silent before the council now looked across the table at admirals and generals. His voice was calm but heavy. We have shown our strength. The galaxy knows. They will not forget. And they will not forgive. We must be ready. This is only the beginning. The people of Earth felt it too. Pride in their victory, sorrow for their losses, and the heavy knowledge that they could no longer hide. In the skies of Haven Reach, the Horizon Spear floated among wreckage, its crew tired but unbroken. The captain looked at the stars, knowing the truth. The galaxy had been warned, and soon war without end would begin. The Battle of Haven Reach was only the beginning. The victory had saved the colony, but it had also uncovered the truth that Earth had hidden for centuries. The galaxy now knew that humanity was far stronger than it had ever shown. In the weeks that followed, news of the battle spread like wildfire through every star system. Holoscreens in alien markets replayed the moment the Horizon Spear's great cannon split the Zorath flagship in half. Merchants whispered of human tactics that turned certain defeat into victory. Scholars studied the battle recordings, their faces pale as they saw how humans fought with both courage and cunning. The whispers that once lived only in secret corners were now spoken loudly in council halls and military briefings. Earth was never weak. Earth was holding back. The Galactic Council demanded an emergency session. Inside the Grand Chamber, filled with the light of floating orbs, every civilization sent its representatives. Some came angry, some came afraid, and a few came curious. At the center stood Earth's ambassador, a calm man named Elias Rahn. His black uniform carried no decoration, but his steady eyes met every alien glare without fear. The council speaker, a tall creature with glass-like skin, spoke first. Ambassador Rahn, humanity has much to answer for. You hid fleets. You built weapons in secret. You pretended to be weak while others risked lives in wars. Explain yourself. The chamber fell silent. All eyes were on the human. Elias Rahn stepped forward and spoke in a voice that carried across the vast hall. Humanity never lied. We came to the council seeking peace, but peace does not mean weakness. We built fleets because history taught us that threats always come. We remained silent because we wished not to scare our neighbors. But when the Zorath attacked, we could not stay silent. We fought, we saved our people, and we will do so again. A murmur swept through the chamber. Some nodded in respect. Others hissed in anger. The Zorath representative rose, his scaled hands slamming the table. You speak of peace, but your fleets are weapons of war. You claim to defend yourselves, but you attacked our glorious fleet without mercy. Humanity has revealed its true face. Deceivers, tricksters, warriors hiding behind soft words. The Zorath Empire declares this: there will be no peace. Earth will fall. The chamber shook with voices, some shouting support for the Zorath, others condemning them. The council speaker raised a hand, but silence did not return easily. At last, Elias Ron answered quietly, "If you bring war to us, we will not hide. But remember this, we did not seek this fight. It was you who lit the fire." Then he walked out of the chamber. The mask was gone. On Earth, preparations began at once. The secret fleets were no longer secret. Shipyards around Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn opened wide, releasing warships that had been hidden under false cargo covers or buried in asteroid fields. The people of Earth, once living in comfort, now united under a single banner. Young men and women volunteered for service. Scientists raced to improve weapons and shields. Factories turned from building trade goods to producing starfighter parts. For the first time in centuries, the full power of Earth stood in the open. Admiral Selene Vaynar, commander of the Horizon Spear, spoke to her officers in orbit above Earth. Her voice was steady but filled with purpose. "The Zorath think we are children. They think our victory at Haven Reach was luck. They are wrong. We will show them that humanity does not bend, does not break. We will show the galaxy that Earth fights not for conquest, but for survival." Her officers saluted, their eyes burning with determination. Far across the stars, the Zorath Empire gathered its forces. Their emperor, seated on a throne of black iron, roared in anger as he received news of the defeat. To the Zorath, defeat was unthinkable. The idea that humans, creatures they had called weak, had shattered their fleet was an insult that could not be forgiven. From dozens of shipyards, the Zorath began building warships. Their commanders swore vengeance. They sent envoys to other empires, urging them to join the war against Earth. Many listened. Fear made them believe. If humans could defeat the Zorath so easily, then what else were they hiding? Thus alliances began to form, not around peace but around fear of Earth. Meanwhile, humanity faced a difficult truth. The galaxy was turning against them. On the colony world of Arcturus Prime, human settlers gathered in the main square as a fleet of alien ships appeared overhead. These were not enemies yet, but they carried a message. Withdraw from this sector. Earth has no right here. In the council itself, voices grew louder. Earth is too dangerous. They must be controlled. Elias Ron listened to every word, then returned to Earth with a heavy heart. He reported to the World Council, "They will not trust us. No matter what we say, they fear us now. Fear leads to alliances. Alliances lead to war. We must be ready for battles on all fronts," and so Earth prepared. In the dark of space, secret meetings took place. Not all aliens wanted Earth destroyed. Some smaller races, long bullied by the Zorath and others, saw hope in humanity's rise. Quietly, they reached out to human commanders. One such meeting took place aboard a hidden station near a dying star. A group of alien envoys waited nervously as Admiral Selene entered the chamber. They spoke in hushed tones. "The Council does not protect us. The Zorath have enslaved our people for centuries. But you humans, you fought them and won. We wish to help you." Selene studied them. She knew the danger. Alliances made in secret could bring betrayal. But she also knew humanity could not fight alone. "Then stand with us," she said. "If we win, you win. Together we can end their chains." The aliens nodded, their faces filled with both fear and hope. But even as new friendships formed, the storm of war grew larger. Zorath fleets massed near human space. Skirmishes erupted on the borders. Human ships, once rare, now fought every day, patrolling colonies and protecting trade routes. Victories came, but each one carried a cost. Families on Earth watched as sons and daughters left for war. On the colony of Haven Reach, the people rebuilt their cities, but they built them stronger, knowing the enemy would return. In quiet moments, some humans wondered if revealing their strength had been a mistake. Yet most knew there was no choice. The galaxy would never let them live in silence again. The breaking point came when the Zorath struck another colony. This time, not with fleets, but with words. They broadcast a message across every star system. Look at Earth. They claim to love peace, yet they build hidden weapons. They are deceivers. Today they fight us. Tomorrow they will fight you. Join us now or be destroyed later. Many empires listened. The galaxy began to divide, some siding with the Zorath, others watching in fear. and a few secretly helping Earth. For humanity, the path was clear. Admiral Selene stood before her fleet once more. The stars glowed outside the windows of the Horizon Sphere. Her voice was steady as she spoke to every ship in the network. "We are surrounded. They call us deceivers, they call us dangerous. Perhaps they are right because we will no longer bow. We will no longer hide. We will fight not just for Earth, but for every world that wishes to be free of fear. The galaxy wanted to see our strength. Now they will see it." Her words spread across the fleet, across colonies, across Earth itself, and in that moment humanity's mask was gone forever. The galaxy now faced a new truth. Earth was no longer silent. Earth was no longer weak. And the war had only begun. The galaxy was no longer quiet. Skirmishes broke out in every corner where human borders met alien space. Trade routes burned, colonies shivered in fear, and fleets roared through the dark. Humanity was no longer hidden. The mask had fallen, and their ships flew proudly under Earth's banner. But now every alien eye watched them, some with awe, others with dread. The Zorath Empire had declared war, and more empires leaned to their side each day. It was fire across the stars. On Earth, people learned to live with war. Factories no longer made luxuries. They forged armor plating and engine cores. Young recruits trained in endless drills, learning how to fight in the cold silence of space. Families waited anxiously for news, knowing their children were far away on distant front lines. Admiral Selene Vaynar watched over it all from the command deck of the Horizon Sphere. She stood tall, her gaze locked on the star maps glowing before her. Red markers spread like a sickness, showing enemy fleets pressing closer to human worlds. Blue markers, the human fleets, stood ready but outnumbered. Her officers waited silently until she spoke. "They think numbers will crush us. They think fear will break us. They are wrong. We will fight with precision, with creativity, with everything that makes us human." The officers saluted. Orders were sent. Across space, humanity moved. The first great battle came at the colony of Ashen Gate. Ashen Gate sat near a cluster of wormholes, making it a key trade hub. Whoever controlled it could strike deep into human or alien territory. The Zorath knew this, and they sent a fleet of 40 warships to take it. The defenders had only 15. When the Zorath fleet arrived, their commander sneered at the weak defense. But hidden in the asteroid belt nearby, Admiral Selene and the Horizon Sphere waited. As the Zorath ships began their assault, Selene gave the order. Human ships burst from the asteroids, engines blazing. They attacked not with brute force but with cunning. Instead of meeting the enemy head-on, they split into small groups, weaving through the larger Zorath ships, striking engines and weak points. One group of human frigates lured a section of the fleet into the asteroid field, where mines detonated, tearing through enemy hulls. Another squadron feigned retreat only to return with devastating crossfire. From the surface of Ashen Gate, colonists watched the sky burn. They cheered as the Horizon Sphere charged forward, its main cannon firing a beam that split a Zorath cruiser in two. The battle lasted 8 hours. When it ended, half the Zorath fleet was destroyed, and the rest fled in chaos. Humanity had won again against impossible odds. Across the galaxy, the victory was broadcast. Some called humans reckless, others called them brilliant. But none could deny one truth. Humans fought differently. Where most empires relied on predictable formations and old traditions, humanity changed tactics in every battle. They were fast, they were daring, and they adapted. A scholar from a neutral world said it best. Other races learn slowly over centuries, but humans change in days. Defeat does not break them. It teaches them. Victory does not make them rest. It drives them forward. This is why the galaxy fears them. But war carried heavy costs. On the colony of Haven Reach, still recovering from the first attack, families buried their dead. Children played in fields rebuilt from ruins, but their laughter was quieter now. Every colonist knew more battles would come. On Earth itself, the cities glowed with industry, but beneath the glow lay grief. Thousands of names were read each week, soldiers who never returned. Yet, instead of breaking, humanity grew stronger. One mother, standing at the memorial wall in New London, spoke words that spread across the network. "They think we are weak, but we endure. For every child lost, 10 will rise. For every city burned, we will build 100 more. We are humanity. We will not fall. Her voice became a rallying cry. Not all aliens stood against Earth. The Thalari, a small aquatic species long enslaved by the Zorath, secretly joined humanity. They sent scouts and engineers, offering knowledge of hidden routes and enemy weaknesses. In return, humanity promised them freedom. For the first time, alien and human fought side by side. On the frozen moon of Draven, human marines and Thalari warriors defended icy trenches together. Though different in form, they shared the same spirit, the will to survive. Trust grew slowly, but it grew. Humanity's cause was no longer theirs alone, yet the enemy adapted as well. The Zorath unveiled a weapon of fear, a massive dreadnought, 3 times the size of the Horizon Spear. Its name was whispered in terror, the World Breaker. When reports of the World Breaker reached Earth, even the bravest felt a shadow of doubt. Its cannon was said to shatter moons. Its armor was said to be impenetrable. Admiral Selene gathered her officers. They believe this weapon will frighten us into surrender. They forget who we are. We do not surrender. We find a way. No matter the size of the enemy, no matter the strength of their weapon, we will face them. Her words spread through the fleet. Fear turned into determination. The next great battle came at the edge of human space near the colony of Meridian. The World Breaker led a fleet of 60 Zorath ships. Against them, humanity could muster only 30. The sky lit with fire as the two sides clashed. Human ships darted like shadows, striking fast, then vanishing. But the World Breaker advanced slowly, its massive cannon charging. On the ground, colonists prayed. They had seen recordings of this weapon turning asteroids into dust. If it fired on Meridian, the colony would be gone in seconds. Admiral Selene studied the battlefield. Her ships were brave, but they could not match the dreadnought head-on. She needed another way. Then she saw it. The World Breaker's armor was thick, but its cannon required vast energy. When it charged, its shields weakened for a few seconds. A small window, but enough. Signal all ships, Selene ordered. We attacked together. Aim for the core when the cannon charges. The humans moved as one. As the dreadnought prepared to fire, every human ship turned and charged. Fighters swarmed, frigates unleashed volleys, and the Horizon Spear led the strike. The World Breaker's cannon glowed. Power building, but before it could fire, dozens of human weapons struck its weakened shield. The sky blazed as the beam tore through its side. The dreadnought shuddered, flames bursting from its core. A second strike, from the Horizon Spear's main cannon, split the massive ship apart. The World Breaker was no more. The galaxy trembled at the news. The Zorath had unleashed their greatest weapon, and humanity had destroyed it. Colonists cheered, allies whispered hope, and enemies felt fear grow colder in their hearts. But even in victory, humanity knew the truth. The war was far from over. The Zorath would not stop, and other empires, fearful of humanity's strength, were preparing to join the fight. Admiral Selene stood on the bridge, watching the wreckage drift through space. Her voice was calm but heavy. We won today, but this war has no end in sight. They will keep coming, and so must we. Her officers nodded, their faces hard with resolve. The galaxy burned with fire, and humanity stood in the center of it, unbroken. The galaxy was changing. Every star system seemed to tremble with tension. Humanity had shown its strength, and now the universe could no longer ignore Earth. Yet with every victory, the enemies grew stronger, more cunning, and more desperate. Admiral Selene Vaynar stood aboard the Horizon Spear, looking at the endless stars ahead. Her fleet was stretched across multiple sectors, protecting colonies, supply lines, and trade routes. The Zorath Empire was rebuilding, and other empires, fearful of human power, were beginning to ally against them. The war had become endless. On the colony of Caldera Prime, humans and their allies were preparing defenses. The Thalari engineers worked alongside human technicians to reinforce orbital shields. Humans dug trenches and built gun emplacements, while Thalari submarines patrolled underground lava channels. The strange partnership showed that even in war, trust could grow. A young human recruit named Arin Vega trained daily with Thalari soldiers. Their methods were different, but the spirit was the same. Arin learned to move silently across lava tunnels to anticipate enemy attacks and to fight without hesitation. For the first time, he understood the true meaning of unity in battle. Together, Aaron said one evening, we are stronger than any fleet they can build. His companion, a Thalari named Salen, nodded. Strength comes from heart, not only from ships. Meanwhile, the Zorath Empire had grown impatient. Their fleets numbered in the hundreds, and they devised new strategies to crush humanity. They believed that overwhelming force could end the war before it truly began. But humans did not fight like others. When the first wave of Zorath ships arrived at the outer colonies, they expected easy victories. Instead, they were met with human ingenuity. Fleets moved in unexpected patterns. Human pilots used decoy ships, hiding the real forces in asteroid fields or behind moons. Mines, traps, and sudden ambushes shredded enemy formations. At the Battle of Cyrus Delta, human ships were outnumbered 4-1. Yet the humans turned the fight into a masterpiece of tactics. Small squads darted between enemy cruisers, striking weak engines. Fighters swarmed capital ships to distract their main weapons. And when the Zorath thought they had trapped the human fleet, a hidden squad of long-range bombers destroyed the enemy's supply ships, cutting off their support. Victory came again. Humanity had proven that numbers alone could not beat courage, strategy, and teamwork. But every battle carried its cost. Colonies suffered damage. Families lost loved ones, and the civilians lived in constant fear. On Draven, human soldiers buried friends and allies beneath the icy ground. On Haven Reach, new buildings rose from ashes, but memories of the first attack lingered. Even Admiral Selene knew the weight of command. Each victory brought relief, but it also reminded her that the war had no end. She spoke to her officers with quiet determination. We cannot stop. We cannot rest. Every planet we protect is a promise we make. The galaxy may try to break us, but they will fail. Humanity survives because we fight, not for glory, but because we must. Her words were carried across the fleet. Hope spread among humans and their allies alike. Meanwhile, whispers of humanity's courage began to reach oppressed races across the galaxy. The Thalari were only the first. Small species enslaved by the Zorath or bullied by neighboring empires saw a new example of strength. Humans did not only fight, they endured, adapted, and inspired. Messages secretly traveled across star systems. If humans can rise against impossible odds, so can we. On a desert world named Vayora, long oppressed by the Grelka, resistance fighters secretly built weapons using smuggled parts and human designs. They studied recordings of the Horizon Spear in battle. Slowly, courage spread, turning fear into determination. Humanity was not just fighting battles, they were inspiring a galaxy-wide movement. The next major confrontation came near the system of Orion's Edge. Here, the Zorath assembled a massive fleet, hundreds of ships, including the dreadnought Iron Fist, a new weapon said to rival the Worldbreaker. They intended to crush the human defenses once and for all. Admiral Selene surveyed the fleet. The odds were not in their favor. Many colonists had already been evacuated, but the human ships would have to fight with everything they had. She addressed her captains. They believe size and firepower alone will win. They are wrong. Use the terrain of space. Use speed, creativity, and surprise. Protect the civilians. And remember, humanity does not retreat. Her officers nodded, understanding the risk. They would be outnumbered, but not outsmarted. The battle began in the cold silence of space. The Zorath fleet moved with precision, forming classic formations designed to crush smaller forces. But humanity responded differently. They split into small units, striking in multiple directions at once. Frigates and fighters darted in and out of asteroid fields. Bombers targeted engines. The Horizon Spear moved at impossible speeds, dodging fire while coordinating attacks across the fleet. At one point, the Iron Fist aimed its cannon at a human transport carrying refugees. The moment seemed hopeless, but a squad of human fighters, guided by expert pilots, darted around the dreadnought, triggering an electromagnetic pulse that temporarily disabled its shields. The Horizon Spear fired, and the massive ship shuddered as fire tore through its hull. In hours, the Zorath fleet began to falter. Ships retreated. Many were destroyed. Humanity had won again, but the cost was visible everywhere. Colonies had suffered minor damage. Human pilots had fallen. Even allies like the Thalari paid dearly. Humanity celebrated victories, but with heavy hearts. Every life lost reminded them that this war could stretch for decades. Admiral Selene knew the truth. This was not a short war. The galaxy had declared humanity a threat, and humans would never be allowed to rest in peace. Yet she also knew something more important. The human spirit was unbreakable. No fleet, no empire, and no weapon could extinguish the will to survive. At the Council, the message of the Orion battle spread quickly. Aliens who had once mocked Earth now whispered in fear. Reports detailed human creativity, bravery, and the speed with which they adapted to new threats. The phrase "humans fight differently" became common. Even some members of the Zorath Empire began to doubt. Could they really win a war against humans who learned from every battle and never lost hope? Across the galaxy, oppressed races whispered hope. Humans were not just fighters, they were symbols. Every colony that survived, every fleet that triumphed, became a story for others to follow. On Earth, Selene watched the stars from the horizon spear. "They think this war can end us," she said quietly. "But we are more than fleets and weapons. We are humanity, and humanity does not give up." Her officers stood silently beside her. Outside the window, distant stars twinkled, indifferent to the battles below. But humanity's light, their courage and determination, shone brighter than any star. The war had no end, and the galaxy had learned a painful truth. Humanity could not be stopped. And with that realization, the spark of resistance began to grow everywhere, from small, enslaved worlds to the far reaches of space. Whispers traveled, "If humanity can fight without fear, so can we. The war may be endless, but courage is stronger than fear." The galaxy burned with fire, rebellion, and hope. Humanity stood at the center, no longer hidden. Every battle proved their strength. Every victory inspired allies. Every loss reminded them of the stakes. The war was far from over. But the galaxy would never again see humans as weak. And in the hearts of the people of Earth, one truth remained. They would fight endlessly if needed. They would protect the innocent. They would survive, for the war without end had only just begun. The galaxy was ablaze. Systems that had once been quiet now hummed with activity. Fleets moved through space like rivers of light, carrying ships from Earth and their allies to every corner threatened by the Zorath Empire and their coalition. Humanity had become a symbol, not just of strength but of unyielding courage. Yet even symbols faced tests. The Zorath, furious and humiliated, had assembled the largest fleet in known history. Ships from allied empires joined their cause. Together they planned a strike so massive it could crush human defenses in a single blow. Their target, Earth itself. Admiral Selene Vaynar studied the reports on the horizon spear. Red markers flooded the star maps. Millions of soldiers, thousands of ships, all focused on a single point. The blue markers representing human space. "We are outnumbered," she said, her voice calm but firm. "But they forget one thing. Humanity does not fight like the others. Every battle teaches us. Every threat strengthens us. We do not break. We do not surrender." Her officers nodded. They understood. The coming battle would be the greatest humanity had ever faced. But they would meet it with everything they had. Across Earth, preparations moved faster than ever. Factories ran day and night, building starships, weapons, and supplies. Soldiers trained in synchronized drills, learning new strategies developed in the heat of previous battles. Civilians volunteered to support the war effort, transporting goods, tending to wounded soldiers, and maintaining communications. Every hand, every mind became part of humanity's shield. The people knew what was at stake. The Zorath were not just another enemy. They represented destruction, conquest, and slavery. Humanity could not lose. In secret corners of the galaxy, oppressed races watched. Some joined openly, sending fleets and fighters. Others offered intelligence, sharing hidden paths and vulnerabilities of the enemy. Together, humans and allies formed a network that no empire could ignore. The battle began at the edge of the Sol sector. The Zorath fleet arrived in perfect formation, its dreadnoughts glinting under the distant suns. Thousands of ships surrounded the human colonies like a black net, but humanity did not panic. The horizon spear led the fleet in a formation that seemed simple at first glance, but was deceptive. Smaller ships darted in and out, weaving unpredictably. Human pilots used the terrain of space, asteroid belts, gravity wells, and nebulae, to mask movements and confuse the enemy. The Zorath opened fire, massive cannons tearing through space. Human shields held, reinforced by energy grids and clever maneuvering. Fighters dodged and counterattacked, taking down key Zorath cruisers. Every move was calculated yet daring. Humanity did not rely on strength alone. They relied on imagination, courage, and teamwork. The turning point came when the Zorath unleashed their new weapon, the Dreadnought Oblivion. 3 times the size of the Horizon Spear, its cannon could obliterate entire colonies in a single shot. Panic spread through the human fleet for a moment. Even Admiral Celine knew the danger, but she did not falter. "We have faced worse," she said. "We have survived. We will survive this. Focus on its weak points and move as one. Humanity does not retreat." Human ships flanked the Dreadnought. Fighters darted around its massive hull, distracting its weapons. Bombers struck at openings in the armor when the cannon charged. Every maneuver was precise, every attack timed perfectly. The Horizon Spear fired its main weapon directly into the core of the Dreadnought. Explosions rippled across its hull. Flames tore through its sides. The Oblivion shuddered and broke apart, scattering wreckage across space. Victory was not complete, but the tide had shifted. Humanity had faced the impossible and survived. Yet even as the battle raged, losses were heavy. Ships burned, planets shook from bombardment, and brave soldiers fell in combat. Humanity mourned each one. Still, they pressed forward. Every death fueled determination. Every victory inspired allies. From distant systems, oppressed races rose. The Grelka on Veora, once enslavers, were confronted by resistance fighters guided by human strategy. The Thalari freed underwater cities captured by enemy forces. Small fleets joined human convoys, swelling numbers beyond what the Zorath expected. Humanity's example had sparked hope across the galaxy. They were no longer just defenders, they were leaders. On Earth, Elias Rayan addressed the world. Holoscreens broadcast his words to every colony and fleet. "The enemy surrounds us, but we are not afraid." Humanity has never been afraid. Today we fight not just for survival, but for every soul in the galaxy who dreams of freedom. We will not give up. We will not surrender, and we will win because we are human. The speech stirred hearts everywhere. Soldiers straightened in their armor. Pilots gripped their controls tighter. Colonists watched with hope and pride. Humanity had found its true power, not just in ships or weapons, but in unity, spirit, and courage. The final assault began at the border of Sol itself. The Zorath fleet had regrouped, determined to crush Earth's defenses. But they were met by the full might of humanity. Ships from every colony, every allied race formed a wall of light and fire. Humans fought not as individuals, but as one organism, moving with speed and intelligence no enemy could predict. The battle was long. Hours turned into days. Every strike mattered. Every maneuver counted. The Zorath tried new weapons, new strategies, but humanity adapted quickly. Engineers repaired damaged shields in real time. Pilots coordinated across fleets in ways no enemy could anticipate. At one moment, a Zorath supercarrier threatened to fire on a human city. In an instant, human fighters swarmed its flanks, distracting the weapons, while bombers slipped through defenses and destroyed its core. The city was saved. Humanity cheered, but there was no time to celebrate. The fight continued. Finally, the enemy realized they could not win. The Zorath dreadnoughts lay in ruins. Their fleet scattered. Many of their allies surrendered rather than face total destruction. Across the galaxy, the tide of war turned. Humanity had survived the greatest test, and the galaxy had seen what humans were truly capable of. In the aftermath, peace was fragile, but real. The Zorath retreated to rebuild, wary of future encounters. Other empires reconsidered their stance. Humans had proven that strength was not only in weapons, but in courage, intelligence, and heart. Admiral Celine watched from the Horizon Spear as the sun rose over Earth. The fleet, battered but alive, gathered to salute the home planet. "We have won," she said quietly. "But we will never forget what it took. Humanity will always be ready." Humanity's legacy was now clear. They had fought a war that many thought impossible. They had defended their home, protected their colonies, and inspired the oppressed across the galaxy. But more importantly, they had proven one truth: strength alone does not make a species great. It is courage, unity, and the will to endure that creates legends. From the smallest colony to the capital of Earth, humans celebrated quietly, not in arrogance, but in recognition of what they had achieved together. Soldiers returned to their families. Engineers repaired ships. Pilots rested after months of battle. And across the galaxy, whispers spread of a species that refused to be conquered. "They fight differently," said one alien commander. "They adapt. They endure. They inspire. Humanity is more than we imagined, and humanity knew it too. The war had tested them beyond imagination. The galaxy had tried to break them, and yet they had survived. They had won, but humanity also understood the truth of the universe. War might never truly end. Threats could rise again, empires could challenge them once more. But Earth was ready. Humanity was ready. And wherever darkness came, humanity would stand unwavering, for the galaxy had been warned. And humans would never ever be underestimated again. The stars were theirs to defend. The future was theirs to shape. And the legend of humanity had only just begun.